Honey,
Yeah.
there are some orphans want to ask you some question.
Of
Like,
course, I'm always
okay.
open to answer.
Yeah,
if I
like
can.
how to really raise the children. How Jewish people raise their children, to
Well,
how educate their children.
yeah, I mean, of course, we talk a lot about this. And,
Yeah.
there is some specific things that the parents really can do, and our Jewish community does, right? The first one is we teach our children to question everything.
Question.
Yeah, so ask questions about everything, right? Because in a Talmud, it's literally just rabbis going question, right?
Yeah.
So our culture is very heavy into questions, right? Asking questions for everything. So the first thing is not to be lazy and do your research, right? If your friend tells you, hey, blah, 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 go do your research. Don't be lazy, right? Start asking questions about stuff like this. So this is probably one of the biggest things we teach our children all the time is to ask questions and do stuff like this. We don't want our kids lazy. We want our kids to be very, very active into the school because it adds to the school as well, right? The children will do their research papers better. They'll answer their essays better. They'll try to figure out how to work better, right? Maybe they don't understand a math question. Okay, ask your teachers. Still don't understand? Research it, right? Ask your parents. Start doing all this. So we teach very young. Ask questions. Just go ahead, right? Build. Don't be lazy. If you don't know something, you have to have a want. The child has to want this, and we teach them to want knowledge, right? The second thing would be reading. Everybody thinks, oh, you should read. Jewish people hold that to our hearts about reading. Reading is one of our number one things that we always push for our children. Even when I was a kid, every night before I go to bed, I would have to read about 2 to 3 hours worth of a book. Every night, 2 to 3 hours would be my whole night reading. My parents really heavy on reading. And the Jewish parents push this, not just reading Talmud and Torah, right? Just reading anything from your interest, from science to math to maybe some literature, right? You can change your reading. The Jews aren't really like 100%, you must read this, okay? But they make you read a variety of stuff, and then the parents sit with you, ask you questions, talk about it, right? So you show an interest. Like my dad used to sit with me every night and ask me, what did I read, right? And we talk about what I read. If I was reading some science book, we would talk about the science in the book, right? So we very heavy do this. And this is important. Your child begins to love reading, and you're involved with your child, right? So the Jewish community wants to be involved and teach this. Another thing is, and a lot of our American Jews push the children to join different clubs. See, in America, a lot of the Americans push their kids to do sports, football,
Yes.
soccer, right?
Yes.
It's so important to do this, right? The Jewish parents push their kids to join chess club, the IT club, the AV club, something to do with like electronics or thinking or book club, right? We actually encourage to join different clubs because they teach you to think, right? They're not teaching you, yes, work out, football, go, right? You're not sitting there doing this all day. They're teaching you to think and join different clubs, right? I was also part of like the yearbook club, so I would make some videos for the school, and I actually learned how to make videos by that club. Yeah, I didn't go into video making, but still I have the skill and knowledge, right? So Jewish parents very heavy want to push their children into a club that can teach skills, right? So this is another thing that we really heavily push for. And of course, last thing is empathy. Jews have been through a lot in our history. We've been through quite a bit of sad and happy all together. And one thing we want to teach our kids is how can we make sure that they can empathize with people, teach them to understand other people's emotion. So when she gets a little older, about 2 to 3 more years, we're going to take her old toys and she's going to pick them out and she's going to carry the bag to a homeless shelter to give her old toys to a child in need, to teach her charity, right? And we're going to make sure she does this. She picks out the toy, she carries it, and she gets to deliver it to the place in Canada. You know, there's a lot of homeless children in the world, and we teach her something as simple as just, you don't play with this toy. You don't need this toy. We can donate it to somebody else, right? So this is a very, those 4 things are very common in a Jewish community. And the mother very heavily teaches this, but the father also is behind the mother, supporting the children doing this. So, you know, hopefully they come out smarter, you know, stronger, and they can understand people better, right?
Yes, I guess.